You think discipline is something you don't have enough of. A trait you were shorted at birth. A tank that runs dry by the 4th week. A war you keep quietly losing to yourself. So you go looking for more of it. More force, more rules, a colder protocol to beat the weak version of you into line. You wake before the sun and call it conquest. You build the spreadsheet, the streak, the stack of habits. And underneath all of it, there is a low hum of dread, because you already know how this ends. It has ended this way before. But listen, every man you have ever quietly envied for his discipline, the one who moves through his life like water finding its level, who trains when no one is watching and feels no strain in it, the one whose sheer self-command makes a room go a little quiet when he enters it. That man is not winning the war you are losing. He never enlisted in it. He is not forcing himself to obey. He is obeying a law he wrote himself, and that is a different thing entirely. The strain you feel is not the price of strength. It is the sound of a self that did not consent. Tonight I want to take that apart, with Nietzsche as the blade. Not the cartoon they made of him, not the slogans stitched over gym photos, but the real philosophy of becoming who you are. I will show you why the discipline you keep failing at is the wrong kind. And I will show you how a man stops commanding himself by force and starts commanding himself by law, until his self-possession becomes the most quietly intimidating thing in any room he walks into. Come down into it with me. You already know the failure. You just don't say it out loud. It is not the spectacular collapse. It is the small one. The private one. The one that happens at night when the performance is over and the only witness left is you. There is the man you are in daylight. Composed, capable, the one who answers with a confident word when asked how the training is going. And there is the man who shows up when the door is closed and the lights are low and no one is keeping score. Those two are not the same man, and the distance between them is the thing that has been eating you. The streak that breaks at 11 at night. The promise made on Sunday, already a ghost by Wednesday. The 4th week, always the 4th week, when the will you mustered so cleanly just is not there anymore, as though it were never yours to begin with. And here is the part you have been taught to read as weakness. You have been told that the man who shows up in the dark is the real you. The lazy core, the flaw in the casting. So you despise him. You wage a campaign against him. But look closer. That collapse is not the absence of will. It is the presence of a will that was never yours. You were obeying borrowed commands. The alarm set because a man is supposed to. The diet chosen because it was prescribed to you. The standard handed down by some voice you never thought to question. Command from outside has no root in you. And anything without root, you cannot hold when the weather turns. This is the secret architecture of your failure. Not a war you keep losing, but a war you should never have been fighting at all. So let us kill the image. The white-knuckled image. The jaw clenched, the teeth set, the inner drill sergeant screaming the soft man into line. That picture is everywhere, and it is worse than a lie. It is a trap, because it sells you the very thing that is breaking you. Look at what is actually happening when you grind your way through it. One part of you wants the thing, the comfort, the rest, the surrender, and another part stands over it with a whip. You are the hand on the whip, and you are the back it lands on. Every ounce of force you spend commanding yourself, you also spend resisting yourself, because the resistance is coming from inside the same body. You are both the wall and the ram. No wonder you are exhausted. You are not lifting a weight. You are wrestling yourself, And a man who wrestles himself can only ever win and lose at once. Now, look at the man who has it. The one whose discipline looks like ease. Watch him closely, and you will see the thing that should change everything. There is no opponent inside him. No second man on the other end of the rope. He is not overpowering a reluctant self, because the reluctant self is not there to overpower. He is pointed. Whole, one direction, one current, nothing in him braced against the thing he is doing. What you read as iron willpower is something quieter and stranger than that. It is the absence of internal war. Feel the weight of that before we go further. The strain, the dread, the white knuckles. That is not evidence of your discipline. It is evidence of your division. It is the sound a self makes when it has been commanded by something it never agreed to. The goal was never to clench harder. The goal is to stop needing to clench at all. Which leaves only one question, the question this whole descent turns on. If the strain comes from obeying a command you did not author, then who in the disciplined man is giving the command? Here we meet Nietzsche properly, and here I have to be careful, because his great idea has been stolen, gutted, and dressed in a uniform it would have despised. Nietzsche's name for the deepest drive in everything alive was der Wille zur Macht, the will to power. The men who wanted to use him took that phrase and made it mean conquest, domination, the strong boot on the weak neck. Understand me clearly. That reading is a forgery. It was assembled, in part literally, by his sister, an anti-Semite who edited his notes after his collapse and lent his name to everything he had spent his life attacking. Nietzsche held the tyrant and the bully in exactly the same contempt he held the herd. The man who needs to dominate others, he saw, is not strong at all. He is weak, driven, leaking, reaching outward for a mastery he could not find within. That is not the will to power. That is its failure. Because the will to power, in its highest form, points the other way. It points inward. In Thus Spoke Zarathustra, Nietzsche has life itself confide a secret. I am, it says, that which must always overcome itself, not survive itself, not please itself, overcome itself. The pulse of a living thing is not merely to persist, but to grow, discharge its strength, to give form to what is formless in it. And the rarest, hardest expression of that drive is not power over other men. It is power over yourself. To command others is common and cheap. To command yourself, to be the one who legislates and the one who obeys, fused into a single undivided man. That is the rare thing. That is Selbstüberwindung. Self-overcoming. So hear what discipline actually is, under all the noise. It is not self-denial, it is self-creation. It is the will to power turned upon your own chaos. The sculptor's pressure brought against the marble of what you happen to be, so that out of the raw, contradictory, unfinished material of you, a shape begins to emerge that you chose. You are not the prisoner of your appetites, and you are not their warden either. You are the artist, and the work is you. The harder question. If the disciplined man obeys a law he wrote himself, why is the law you obey so easy to break? Where did your law come from? Trace it back. Honestly, most of what you call your discipline was never authored by you at all. You inherited it. You were handed a table of values before you were old enough to refuse them. Long list of shoulds, of oughts, of the shape a good man is supposed to take. The body you are supposed to want. The success you are supposed to chase. the hours a serious man is supposed to keep. You did not arrive at these by descent into your own depths. You absorbed them, the way a boy absorbs the weather of the house he grows up in, and you have been mistaking the absorption for conviction ever since. This is the heart of what Nietzsche called herd morality. Not evil, not stupid, just borrowed. A code of values that asks no man to author it, only to comply, because its whole function is to make the many move as one. There is a kind of safety in that, the warm safety of the flock. But a value you did not forge for yourself has no root in you. It sits on the surface. It holds in fair weather and fails the moment the night gets long and the cost gets real, because there is nothing underneath it but the memory of someone else's voice telling you what you are supposed to want. So consider the boy you were, the one who learned, early and well, to optimize himself for approval, to read the room, to meet the standard, to become the version of himself that earned the nod. That boy was bright. That boy survived. But the discipline he built was a discipline of obedience, not of will. He learned to perform the law, not to write it. And the man you are now is still running that ancient program, still trying to satisfy a standard he never chose, still wondering why the engine keeps seizing. It seizes because there is no fuel in it that is yours. You cannot keep, by force, a law you did not author. No one can. The failure was never in your strength. It was in the source. And here is the cruelest turn of it. The deepest cage is the one that looks exactly like virtue. There is a kind of man. And you may be close to him, you may be him on your better-looking days, who is so controlled, so clean, so admirably disciplined, that no one would ever think to call him caged. He keeps the rules flawlessly. He denies himself with a straight back. He is the good disciplined man, and everyone tells him so. But ask him the one question that matters, and watch the silence open beneath him. Whose voice is it that you are obeying so perfectly? He does not know. He has never once asked. He has spent his whole life executing a law with such devotion that it never occurred to him to read who signed it. That is not strength. That is obedience wearing the mask of strength. The self-denial that looks so noble from the outside is, underneath, a kind of self-erasure. A man so busy meeting the standard that there is no longer anyone home to ask whether the standard is his. Good disciplined boy is still a servant. He is only a tidier one. He has polished his chains until they shine like armor, and he calls the shine character. Some of this is landing. I think you are recognizing a face in this, and it is uncomfortably close to your own. If you are, stay with me, because what comes next is where the war ends, where we stop talking about the cage and start talking about the chisel. And if this channel is putting words to something you have felt for years without naming, subscribe, so the next descent finds you. That's all. Now, come further down, because we have not yet met the part of you on the other end of the rope, and he is not who you think he is. Here is the thing you have gotten most wrong, and it has cost you the most. The part of you that sabotages the build, that breaks the streak, that wants the comfort, that drags its feet against the law. You have been treating it as weakness, as the enemy, as the lazy, lesser man to be starved and beaten down. But look at it honestly now, without the moralizing, and you will see something that should stop you cold. That part is not weak at all. It is the strongest thing in you. It is your vitality, your hunger, your appetite, your aggression. The raw animal voltage of a living man, and the only reason it is fighting you is that, Somewhere back in the long campaign to become acceptable, you exiled it. This is one of Nietzsche's most unsettling insights, and it offers no comfort. So sit in it. When a man suppresses his drives, he decides his hunger is shameful, his anger ugly, his desire dangerous, and walls all of it off in the name of being good. He does not kill those drives. He cannot. They are the engine. What he does instead is make them sick. They turn. Denied any honest outlet, the force curdles inward and becomes resentment, the bad conscience, the cruelty a man learns to aim at himself. The aggression you would not let yourself point at the world, you now point at your own back, night after night, and call it discipline. It is not discipline. It is a wound you keep reopening. And here is the part that should change how you see every collapse you have ever had. The energy that tears down what you build is the exact same energy that could build it. It is not two forces. It is one force, exiled and resentful, turned against the house because it was never given a job inside it. The man who breaks his own streak at midnight and the man who could carry that streak for 10 years are the same man with the same fire. The only difference is whether that fire has been conscripted or condemned. You have been trying to win by killing the strongest thing you have. No wonder the victory never comes. So what does a man reach for when he finally feels how strong the thing fighting him is? More force. Always more force. A tighter protocol, a colder rule, a harder hand. If the rebel inside is this strong, the logic goes, then I must become a more brutal warden. Tighten the cage. This is the trap, and I need you to see it for the dead end it is, because the entire discipline industry is built on selling it to you. Suppression feeds exactly what it cages. Every wall you build against a drive does not weaken the drive. It pressurizes it. You have felt this. The diet held by sheer force until it detonated into a binge. The restriction white-knuckled for a month until it broke and took the whole structure down with it. The harder you clamp, the more violent the eventual return, because you are not removing the energy. You are compressing it. And compression is just delay with interest. Nietzsche spent real venom on this, on what he called the ascetic ideal. The impulse to turn life against itself, to make a virtue of self-torture, to prove your strength by how much of yourself you can crucify. He saw it for what it is, not the conquest of the drives, but a war the self wages on the self, a man splitting himself ever deeper and calling the wound holiness. And the deeper he splits, the weaker he gets, because every division costs him the unified force he was trying to build. Understand the mechanics of why you cannot win this way. You cannot outmuscle yourself. The muscle is on both ends of the rope. Whatever strength you bring to the warden, you have also handed to the prisoner because they draw from the same well. To pull harder is to be pulled harder. This is the thing the grind never tells you. The way out of the war is not to win it. It is to end it, and you do not end a civil war by giving one side a bigger whip. You end it by removing the reason the two sides were ever set against each other, which means the answer was never more force. It was a different relationship to the law itself. Now we climb. Because there is a way out, and it is not the one you have been straining toward. Stop trying to obey the borrowed law better. Stop trying to be a more flawless servant of a code you never signed. The way out is to become the one who writes the code. Nietzsche's word for the highest kind of man was not the obedient man, and not the rebel. It was the free spirit. And the free spirit is defined by a single audacious act. He gives himself his own law. In the gay science, Nietzsche calls us to become those we are. Human beings, he says, who are new, unique, incomparable, who give themselves their own laws, who create themselves. Read that again and feel where the authority sits. Not handed down. Authored. The free spirit still obeys. Make no mistake, he obeys harder than any servant, but he obeys a law he wrote. And there is a phrase of his I want you to carry out of this room, because it reframes the entire project. To give style to one's character. Nietzsche called it a grand and rare art. Picture what that means. The artist does not deny the marble. He does not war on it. He surveys everything that is actually there. Every strength, every weakness, every appetite, every flaw. Fits it all into a single plan, a coherent shape, until even the weaknesses are made to serve the whole. Nothing is exiled. Nothing is beaten into submission. It is conscripted into a design. The hunger that broke you becomes drive. The aggression that turned inward becomes edge. The restlessness becomes range. You are not denying a self. You are sculpting one. This is what Nietzsche meant, borrowing the old line from Pindar, when he said, "Become who you are, not find yourself." There is no finished self buried in you waiting to be excavated. Make yourself. Author the one man only you could become, and then hold yourself to him. And here is why the inner war finally ends. The man who legislates his own law has no rebel inside him, because there is no longer an outsider's command to rebel against. The law is his. The hand that writes it and the hand that obeys it belong to the same man, at last undivided. He does not force himself. He keeps faith with himself. So bring it down out of the heights and into tonight, into the actual hours of your actual life. Because a philosophy that cannot touch your evening is just another thing to admire and forget. Begin with an inventory you have been avoiding. Sit with the shoulds that run you and put each one to the question, is this mine, or did I inherit it? The hour you keep, the body you chase, the work you grind at, the definition of a successful man you have been measuring yourself against in the dark. Some of them, examined honestly, are yours, forged from your own depths, and those you keep. But some are pure inheritance, the herd's weather, a standard you absorbed and never once chose. Those you burn, not in rebellion. Rebellion is just obedience inverted, still letting the borrowed law set the terms. You burn them because they are not yours, and a man cannot build a life on a foundation he did not lay. Then the harder move, the one you make in the moment the urge rises, the pull toward the comfort, the surrender, the broken promise. Do not obey it, but do not condemn it either, because you have learned tonight what condemnation costs. Interrogate it. Ask what drive is actually speaking. What is this hunger underneath the craving? What strength, what need, what exiled voltage is trying to get your attention? And then conscript it. Find it an honest job inside the house you are building, instead of leaving it out in the cold to claw at the walls. The energy that wanted to wreck the night can be turned to build the morning. But only if you stop treating it as a criminal and start treating it as a force in want of direction. And then write one law. 1. Not a spreadsheet of 40 rules. One law that is unmistakably yours, descended from your own depths, the kind you would defend to a man who challenged it. And keep it, not by gritting your teeth, but as an act of authorship. Every time you hold it, you are not suffering a restriction. You are signing your name again to the man you are making. This is what Nietzsche meant by giving style to your character. Not a heroic burst, but a daily craft, the patient pressure of the chisel, repeated. It is quieter than the grind. It is also far harder, because there is no one left to blame, and no borrowed voice left to obey. There is only you, and the law you wrote, and the long, faithful work of keeping it. But I have to guard you against one last distortion. Because a man can do everything I have just described, and still get it wrong. Still turn his own law into a grimmer cage. Jaw set, teeth gritted, enduring his life like a sentence he happened to hand himself. That is not the summit. The summit has a strange name. Nietzsche called it amor fati, the love of fate. He named it in The Gay Science as a kind of vow that he wanted to learn to see as beautiful what is necessary in things, so that he would be one of those who make things beautiful. And later, in Exiled, he gave it its fullest form, his formula, he said, for greatness in a human being, that one wants nothing to be different. Not forward, not backward, not in all eternity, not merely to bear what is necessary, and certainly not to hide from it, but to love it. Sit with how far that goes. Not to endure your hard road, to love it, to want your conditions, your obstacles, your discipline itself. The cold mornings, the heavy load, the law you bound yourself to, not as a burden you are nobly carrying, but as something you would choose again. Nietzsche built a test for exactly this, the most demanding thought he ever set down. The eternal recurrence. Imagine you had to live this life again, this very day, this training, this law, infinitely, every detail returning forever. Would you will it? Would you say yes? The grinding man, the man at war with himself, recoils. God, no, not again. But the man who has authored his own life, who loves his road, he says yes, and means it. And now you can finally tell the difference between the false disciplined man and the real one. The false one suffers most and shows it least, a stoic mask over a private agony. The real one is not the man who suffers most. He is the man who has stopped experiencing his own law as suffering at all. Because it is his, because he loves it, because he would choose it again into eternity. That is why joy, not gritted teeth, is the true signature of self-command. A man who loves his discipline has already won the war so completely that he no longer remembers it as a war. Now picture him. A man who has done all of this, and understand at last why his presence does the thing the title promised. Why his sheer self-command quietly unsettles every room he walks into. He is undivided. That is the whole of it, and it is everything. There is no second man inside him pulling against the first. No exiled drive clawing at the walls, no borrowed voice he is straining to satisfy. He authored his law, he loves his fate, and so the war that consumes most men, the endless private friction you have lived inside for years, simply does not run in him, and that absence is felt. Other men cannot name it, but they feel it come off him like temperature off a stone that has held the sun. He is not nicer for it. Do not confuse this with softness, and do not confuse it with the performed hardness of the man who needs you to see how dangerous he is. That man is still leaking, still reaching outward, still weak in the exact way Nietzsche diagnosed. No. This man is dangerous in the truest and quietest sense. He is self-possessed. You cannot bait him, because there is no ungoverned drive in him to hook. You cannot rush him, because he keeps his own time. You cannot move him with approval or with threat, because he is governed from within by a law your hands cannot reach. His discipline looks effortless precisely because there is no opponent left inside him to strain against. What looks like ease is the stillness of a man with no civil war. That is the intimidation. Not muscle, not volume. Not the cultivated menace men buy and wear. It is the unbearable steadiness of a man who has stopped needing anything from you. Because he long ago stopped needing to win the argument with himself. Other men feel that, and instinctively lower their voices. They are standing next to someone whose center is entirely his own, and some old animal part of them knows it cannot be touched. And here, before we close, I have to lift the last idea to its proper height. Because it is the one most often dragged through the mud. The Übermensch. The Overman. The word the forgers loved most. The one they twisted into a master race, a superior caste, a justification for the boot and the camp. Burn that reading. It is a lie, and Nietzsche would have spat on it. He despised the nationalism and the anti-Semitism of his age. Broke with men he loved over it. And the racial Übermensch is a corpse his sister dressed up and sold. The real meaning is almost the opposite of a caste of finished superior men. The Übermensch is not a who. It is a direction. Zarathustra, Nietzsche, says it plainly. Man is something that shall be overcome. Not man as a race, man as a stage. A thing not yet finished. A bridge, and not a destination. The overman is the man forever overcoming the man he was. He is not a summit you reach and stand upon. He is the act of climbing itself, made permanent. And this means the work I have described to you never ends, and you should be glad of it. There is no final self waiting at the top where you put down the chisel and coast. There is only the next overcoming. Yesterday's limit become today's warm-up. This year's law revised by a man, this year's striving has made wiser. You are not building toward a fixed statue of yourself. You are the sculptor and the marble both, at once, forever. The hand that carves and the stone that yields. And the carving is the whole point and the whole life. To be disciplined, in the end, is not to have arrived. It is to have committed permanently to the act of becoming more than you currently are. The man you are tonight is the raw block. The man you could be is not a destination on a map. He is a direction you turn toward and keep walking. And the walking never stops. That refusal to ever settle into a finished thing, that is the deepest source of his power. So come back with me to where we started. The door closed, with the man in the dark behind it. The war you kept losing. The discipline you were so sure you lacked. You see it differently now. The discipline was never the missing trait. Never the tank you were shorted at birth. It was waiting for an author. All those years you thought you were weak. You were not weak. You were obeying laws that were never yours, and then calling the inevitable collapse a flaw in your character. It was not a flaw. It was a man's deepest self refusing, again and again, to keep faith with a code it never signed. That refusal was not your failure. It was the last honest thing in you, waiting for you to finally listen to it. So stop fighting the self. Lay down the whip. There is no weak man in there to beat into submission. There is only force, exiled and waiting for a job, and a law that no one but you has the right to write. Pick up the chisel. It was always a chisel, never a sword. The marble was always you, and the formidable, undivided man you have spent your whole life envying in others. One who moves through the world ungovernable from the outside because he is so completely governed from within. He is not someone else. He is the shape already latent in your own stone, waiting, with a patience that has lasted as long as you have, for you to begin. Become who you are, not the man you were told to be, the one only you could carve. Begin tonight. And do not stop, because the man who stops carving is the only one who ever truly fails. Everything else is just the work. And the work is yours.